knew I was muted as well. I knew it. I was thinking before I started, I said to myself, now, am I muted? I knew it. I knew it. Oh, what a start anyway. Well, it's early morning here in Panenka Studios. Match day reloaded. There you go. It's one of those ones, you click live, you go boom. And I went, I didn't check my mic. Is it going to be okay? And you take a risk. You take a risk and it didn't pay off. It doesn't matter. Nobody noticed. How is everybody doing though? Manchester United 3, Crystal Palace 0. Match day reloaded here in Panenka Studios once again. We've got so much to get into. So much to get into this morning. We've got, obviously, all of the quotes from Erik ten Hag. Got the quotes from Sofyan Amrabat as well, talking about he'll play anywhere. It doesn't matter. Left back, right back, midfield, up front, right wing, left wing, in goal. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter where I play as long as I'm playing out on the pitch. We'll be talking about that. Plus, we've got all the reactions, some highlights as well. We're going to be seeing Flex's reaction from outside Old Trafford. We've got some match view highlights this morning as well. KG, that comedian. Now, a little bit of a hint maybe for later on. Is KG getting excited? We'll see. We'll see how excited he is getting. But yeah, yes, he is getting excited. We're going to get some good vibes from Good Vibes John this morning as well. Plus some more reaction too. So there's plenty to get into this morning. How's everybody doing though? How is everybody doing in the chat? Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. And it's nice to do one of these, of course, isn't it? After a convincing 3-0 victory. A 3-0 victory that, it must be said, was a walk in the park. No problem. Best performance of the season for Manchester United, certainly, wasn't it? Now, let's not get too carried away with ourselves, obviously, because it's the Carabao Cup. It was against the Crystal Palace side that rotated, and I don't really know why. Prior to the game being broadcast, I was watching Sky Sports News, and I saw Clinton Morrison, of course, former Crystal Palace striker himself, and when the team news came out, he said, I don't get it. And I don't understand why teams like Palace, where Crystal Palace aren't going down this season, they're very safe. They're in two competitions. They're not going to win the Premier League, obviously. So you'd say Carabao Cup, FA Cup, give it a go. And they didn't. I'm not complaining too much, obviously, because it was our best performance of the season. I think it's a really important performance and a really important result because I'm a big believer in winning breeds winning. It's all about momentum. And winning is a habit in the same way that losing is a habit, in the same way that United have a lot of negative habits in the way that we play, in the way that we perform mentally and in terms of tactically recently, whether it's go 1-0 down, game over, whether it's score a goal and then immediately concede afterwards. And these are negative habits that are developed and built up over time. And winning's the same thing. Winning is the exact same thing in terms of, if you just keep winning, you build momentum, you build that habit, you build resilience. And we did that. I keep pointing to it because it's so true and it's so obvious to me, is coming out of the World Cup last season. We had a bunch of games that were, everyone would say, oh, yeah, easy winnable games, nothing to shout about. And there's always a caveat, there's always an asterisk over a victory. Over when it was Saturday against, but it's only Burnley, bottom of the table away from home. You're really celebrating that. Last night, it's only Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup, you're really celebrating that. Well, when you've had the start to the season that we've had, when you get back-to-back victories and back-to-back clean sheets, yeah, you'll take it. If you'd have said prior to the Saturday's game, you'll win the game and keep a clean sheet, everyone said, well, absolutely, yes. If people would have said going into last night's game, you'll win 3-0, keep a clean sheet, they'd go, oh, absolutely. So, again, very positive performance. Won't get too carried away. The most important thing is getting the result again at the weekend, because realistically, again, because it's the Carabao Cup, if we don't get a positive result at the weekend against Palace, it doesn't really count for nothing. Yes, you're through to the next round, but the pressure would still firmly be on, and given the start that we've had in the league, you need to keep up that positive momentum. But I think myself, I can only speak for myself, but I would think that the players certainly as well, when you win 3-0 on the week and put in the level of performance that you did, even if it's not, your strongest side or their strongest side, you have confidence, you have momentum. And the Palace players will be thinking, oh, I can't have that again. And the players that played last night, some of them certainly will be involved on Saturday. They'll be thinking, we're right, we're up to speed now, we're going. And it's funny, isn't it? It's funny how quickly things can change in football, because in the space of a week, now that we've got players coming back in to the team, whether it be Varane, Amrabat, etc., having those players just back and available, it makes a massive difference. Mason Mount too. Suddenly you've got options, and suddenly you're looking at other players that aren't far from returning, your Kobbie Mainus and others. When you've got two strikers, Anthony Martial starts, you can take him off, you can bring on Rasmus Højlund. Suddenly we have options that we didn't have just a week or a couple of weeks ago, and that's a massive difference. And I think people have kind of overlooked that. I know that people don't want to, they always say, oh, you're talking about excuses about injuries, but we've had points, we've still got a lot of people out injured. Our defensive injuries are a massive concern. But you look at the injuries we've had, we've been operating kind of on a shoestring in terms of squad selection. So as the players come back, as momentum builds, that's the important thing. And it's all about momentum. Yes, don't get too carried away. Yes, it's all about the next game. But certainly a positive one last night. Now, in terms of quotes coming out of the game, there's quite a few. Of course, Sofyan Amrabat was absolutely superb last night. And we'll go into him in a bit more detail later on during the show. But he was spoken to, and he spoke to, rather, Sky Sports after the game. Didn't get man of the match, so I went to Casemiro. Deservedly so. Casemiro was phenomenal in the game. But Amrabat making his first start as a Manchester United player, the first time he's played at Old Trafford as well as a Manchester United player. And he said, dream come true. This is what I dreamed of as a kid. I play where the team needs me. I play for the badge. I'm not at my best, not the perfect pre-season. I trained very hard, but there's plenty more to come. Now, when asked about playing left back, he said, I play where I can help the team, even goalkeeper. I play for the badge. He also pointed out that actually he had said to Erik ten Hag before the game, I'll play wherever. I don't care. Put me in goal. Not a problem. That's where I'll play. And I think that obviously people really enjoyed the Amrabat performance because he played very well, but it's his determination, isn't it? It's his determination, it's his commitment, it's his desire, it's his covering of the pitch, and it's his personality that resonates with the Manchester United fans. And it made me laugh before the game last night, because as is par for the course, and this isn't even a new thing, but when the team news came out last night, the meltdown that you saw on social media, the meltdown. Amrabat's playing left back. Why? What's Erik ten Hag doing? We bought him as a midfielder, or we loaned him as a midfielder. We pursued him as a midfielder. This is a disgrace. Manchester United are a mess. We're in the mud. And I sort of went, well, wait a minute. Obviously, it's not the ideal situation. Yes, we pursued him as a midfielder, and the second half he played as a midfielder. But at the same time, what did you really expect last night? Because who else were you going to play at left back? And we'll get into the position in a second, but who else was going to play? We got 3 left backs injured. 3. And at the weekend, when he came on against Burnley, where did he play? He played at left back. So he was always going to play. When that team news came out, and you looked at the team, you went, Casemiro, Mount, Hannibal, and you looked at the wingers and the striker, you went, oh, Amrabat's playing left back. And yeah, it wasn't ideal, but then also look at the game. Look how it played out. Because Crystal Palace, because they made those changes, they really had no interest in getting the ball forward or having any of the ball that often. They were sat behind the ball, low block. And when you're playing a low block, your inverted fullbacks are really important, particularly someone like a Sofyan Amrabat and Dalot, because essentially they're not playing at left back and right back. They're playing midfield. They're giving support to Casemiro and Mason Mount in the middle. They're extra bodies in the middle. So, yes, he was listed at left back, but he really played midfield for the entire game. Second half, he was in midfield anyway, actually in the natural position. But left back in the first half, he was basically in midfield, and he was on the right wing at points anyway. He was all over the pitch. So, for those people that, freaked out, and a proper freak out. It was expletives, it was this, that, and the other. It's kind of just like, hey, calm down. Like, Erik ten Hag knows what he's got at his disposal, and who else? It's one of those ones where it felt to me just like that kind of fake outrage, because you go, it's not as if we've got 2 left backs on the bench that Amrabat, was it playing ahead of, and you go, this is bullshit. It's got Luke Shaw and Reguilon and Malacia, they're all on the bench. I don't know why Erik ten Hag's doing that. There's no one else there. It was always good. He was going to play there, and he was excellent. And As I mentioned, second half he was fantastic. First half he was brilliant as well. And to be honest, if the team news came out right on Saturday and he was playing there again, would we be freaking out again? I don't know if we would. I mean, ideally you'd probably have a regular on there because it's his natural position. But despite the personnel change of Crystal Palace at the weekend, which there will be significant personnel change, I don't really see Palace changing that much tactically. They'll still do the same thing, which is allow Manchester United to have a lot of the ball, try and hit us on the counter-attack, get behind the ball. If that is the case, it's going to be a low block. If it's a low block, you need people in the middle. You need people that are going to move the ball. You need people that are going to have touches of the ball and are going to be confident on the ball as well. So if it was Amrabat left back again at the weekend, I wouldn't be too fussed because I'd say, well, it's going to be a similar situation. You know, maybe Roy Hodgson might try and, combat him a little bit more because they maybe didn't really know what to expect from Amrabat. But as I mentioned, I wouldn't be too fussed by it at all. Erik ten Hag spoke to the media after the game. He said it was a good night. The spirit has always been there with this team. Still a lot more to come. He was asked about Harry Maguire, who said he was very solid. Indeed, he was, and we're going to get into Maguire later on because, as I've said recently, for me, it's just about performances. On the youngsters, because there was quite a few youngsters that played last night. Of course, Garnacho, Pellistri, Hannibal in the team as well. Dan Gore came on his birthday, and he was actually really, really good when he came on for about a 10-15 minute period. He said, "You don't get given it with me. You have to earn it. These youngsters have to deserve the chance, and they do." He was also asked, because I guess this is going to be like the new Paul Pogba or Ronaldo question in every interview and press conference. He was also asked about Jadon Sancho, if anything was resolved, and he said, "That's up to him. I don't speak about unavailable players." He was then pressed even more about it, and again he goes, "I don't speak about unavailable players. It's up to him," because the news yesterday was about Jadon Sancho deactivating his Instagram account, and they said, "Is that a step in the right direction?" And Ten Hag said, "Well, I don't know." I don't know. I don't probably think that Erik ten Hag had spoken to Jadon Sancho or spoken to anyone really about Sancho that day, and it's not about Jadon Sancho. He wasn't available, he wasn't playing, and that situation looks to be really exactly the same as it was previously. Going back to the youngsters that played last night, Ten Hag said, "These young players have to impress in training. You don't get given opportunities, you earn them at this club." And again, when he was asked again about the Instagram account, we've spoken about that. Speaking about Alejandro Garnacho, Ten Hag said as to why he didn't play, as to why he maybe didn't play in more recent games. He said, quote, "His contribution was not good enough in the starts against Wolves and Spurs, but also had some good actions. You see, he's always a threat in the game when he's not, even when he's not playing well." So it's quite interesting actually, because some people had wondered, hadn't they, against the likes of Bayern and Burnley, why wasn't Alejandro Garnacho that involved? Why wasn't he that involved? Why didn't he come on against... did he even come on in either game? He didn't against Burnley, I don't think. Did he against Bayern? Not that I can recall, I don't think, because Rashford played both games all the way through. And people wondered, why didn't Garnacho come on? And maybe Ten Hag is saying, because when I played him against Wolves and Spurs, it wasn't good enough. I wasn't happy with his contributions. Last night he was excellent. He looked really, really lively. Obviously got his goal as well. I liked, the sort of natural wingers on the left and the right between Garnacho and Facundo Pellistri. It was, again, just overall, you can't really point to any player last night and say that they didn't play well. Everyone to a man was excellent. A couple of people that weren't in the squad last night, Scott McTominay and Christian Eriksen, reportedly they missed the match due to illness as well. Erik ten Hag was also asked about Dan Gore, who of course came on. He said, "Gore, it's a good birthday for him, but I'm not a coach who gives opportunities to players for no reason. They have to earn it. Once they earn it, they have their chance. They have to earn it every day in training." And people were sort of suggesting, is that a slight at Jadon Sancho? I don't think it is. I think that is just the principles. He talks all the time about principles, and he talks all the time about the rules. And what a wild one, that principle. Play well in training, you'll play at the weekend. Great. Yes. And then he was also asked about Casemiro, who again was man of the match. He was superb last night, goal and assist. And Casemiro, the top goal scorer this season. Ten Hag said, "Casemiro, the team's top goal scorer. He brings so much to the team." And indeed he does. I mean, he's so much more than just a destroyer. I think, because of his achievements that he's had at Real Madrid, people have just sort of labelled him as this sort of, thug, essentially, that does big tackles, wins the ball back and gives it, to better players in Toni Kroos or Luka Modric in that team. And obviously that was his role in that team. But to say that he can't, or to say that he's not good on the ball, just isn't true, really. We've seen it. We saw that last season as well. And this season he started really slow and his fitness looked off. But lots of people did also say, hey, he can take a while to grow into the season. He did last season. So here's hoping that, the last couple of games, because he was good against Burnley. Of course, it was his best game of the season last night. Here's hoping he can build on that in the same way that the whole team can, really. We got a super chat here from Ahmad. Says, I'm sure 99% of the fans who are critical of certain players or decisions are happy to be proven wrong. Glory, glory, Man United. Yes and no. Yes and no, I think, with that. I think a lot of people, I think a lot of criticism on social media, or just in general from people, comes from a good place. They want to see United win, and they want to see players improve. However, there is criticism. There is this sort of, the sort of modern day social media fan that really wants to be proved right. And maybe to the detriment of certain players or the detriment of the team sometimes, I feel like, which is very unfortunate. I told you this person is no good. I told you this. I was right. See, and to the point, like, for instance, Mason Mount. Mason Mount last night was brilliant. For 45 minutes, he was excellent. And we saw really what he can offer Manchester United this season. Mason Mount, prior to tonight, had played, 2 games for Manchester United. He's a flop already. He's rubbish. He's, what's he going to do? And to be honest, people were saying that before he even kicked the ball this season in a competitive game. People were saying that in pre-season. Mason Mount's rubbish. He's awful. What a waste of money, this, that, and the other. And you go, well, that might be true come the end of the season. But it ain't the end of the season yet. It's barely just begun, And I think, yes, people want to be proved wrong. Some people. But there is the other side of things. And it's a very strange and murky wonders. It's kind of crazy. And but then look, if Mount came off at 45 minutes, which again was pre-planned, he's fine. But if he has an average game at the weekend, it's going to be. I see. This is why. It's a football fan, isn't it? Let's get some reaction. Let's go to Flex first. He was outside Old Trafford. Here are his thoughts, easy for me to say, on United's 3-0 win over Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup third round.
We are the holders. We are holding on to our trophy at the minute. But it was a nice, easy night, and it's not been often we've been able to say that with Man United. With everything that's been going on, I've been saying winning breeds winning. It was very important tonight to come here and just have a performance without any controversy, without any injuries, without any hearts in mouths, without any mistakes, and just dispatch of Palace. Now, I will say this, it did help that Crystal Palace, played a weakened team. It did help that they sat off us and let us have the ball. So those are things that went for us. I thought they would have been a bit more adventurous. That's one thing I would say. But everybody that we started in the game played the game in the right way, in the right manner. Everybody played with the right intensity. Everybody played with the right control and the right emotion in the game. So many players played well. Sofyan Amrabat, wow. Very, very good from him. A lot of people before the game, oh no, he's playing left back, or no, he's going to play right back inverted. It was left back, and it was left back inverted in the first half. But Man United spent so much time with the ball. He was essentially playing central midfield, which was a good tactic. A perfect game to employ that tactic where we knew we would have loads of the ball at home against Crystal Palace, and he was fantastic. I think he gave us an insight into what he can give us. Let's not get carried away and say we're fixed now, we're back. Of course not. But from what he did, and how he played, he showed us exactly the type of player he can be for us and what some of his main attributes are, especially in possession against a team like Palace where you're going to get space and time on the ball. He can spray passes wide to get us going. He keeps the ball moving very, very quickly. He always wants the ball. And I think Raksaki tried to go past him once, poor lad. He said, no chance, sorry. Even helped him because he pushed him into the boards afterwards, said, sorry, just a big man thing. You ain't getting past, but sorry, kid. So it was just a top performance from him. And that was fantastic to see. And it was no coincidence. And I don't know about you guys, but I was sort of thinking ahead. And I'm like, this is the type of protection. This is the type of player that Casemiro is going to need next to him. You know what I mean? Obviously, he can play instead of Casemiro, and I'll get to Casemiro in a minute, who was absolutely fantastic today, my man of the match. But I just got some little shades of this is gonna be something that we've been asking for, something we've been needing, to help support Casemiro in there in those big games. And look, there's another one here on Saturday against Palace, which will be a different test. Palace will, start way more players than they did today, and they will go for it. They'll be nowhere near as poor as that. But Amrabat was that's a top class home debut. There's not much more you can ask for from him. His passing was fantastic. He was good in the duels. And it was a great performance by him. Mason Mount, I thought he was very good. He had a very, very good half. The Hounds are out for the 007s. Yeah, no goals, no assists in 7 games. Hold that. Shut up. You know what I mean? Assist from the corner. And in open play, he was fantastic. Some nice little neat touches. Good switch of play to Palestri that led to the first goal as well. With Dallo bombing on and then cutting it back to Garnacho. Really impressive Mason Mount today. That's what.
Big up Flex, chatting outside Old Trafford last night, and bring up a couple of very good points there. Obviously, Sofyan Amrabat again, Casemiro, Mount. That first half, that midfield, and really, I mean, I know that Amrabat started at left back, but because he was so much in midfield, because he was so inverted, you sort of had a midfield, I'm not even going to say trio, I'm going to say quartet, because I put Hannibal in there as well, because Hannibal, and we'll get to him later on too, but his work rate was so important in there. That's the best midfield performance. I mean, obviously it's the best overall performance we've seen this season, but it was the best midfield performance that we've seen this season, in that it's no coincidence that Casemiro has his best game of the season when he's finally got people around him that are willing to help. They're able to help him. They're willing to help him. He's not having to cover so much space. He's not having to do so much running. And this is a guy that's past 30, and even if he wasn't, it's a tremendous amount of running to do. He's not N'Golo Kante in that aspect, So, but the fact that he's got Mason Mount able to facilitate him, he's got Sofyan Amrabat behind him, helping him as well. That's so critical for him. So it's no surprise that, again, he has his best game when he's got finally runners. He's got people that are willing to help him, that are willing to track back, that are willing to press. Because I put Hannibal involved in that as well. There's a fantastic clip in the first half of the United lose the ball, I think, and Hannibal and Garnacho, they sprint back, they fly back to try and win the ball back, and that's what we need. And maybe that's an indictment as to where we've been at the beginning of this season, that we're talking about basic running, putting a shift in, work off the ball, and we're praising that. But realistically, that hasn't been there enough. I mean, after the Bayern Munich game, prior to the Burnley game, Ten Hag was asked in one of his press conferences, wasn't he? Why are the players not running? I don't know. I don't have the answer. Last night they ran. And there is this strange correlation, isn't it, with the amount of work you put on off the ball, you tend to get a positive result. That's what you tend to get. It's a bit like last season when we lost against Brentford 4-0, and we didn't have, we didn't do any work off the ball, and then Ten Hag makes the team do the running, and we did, nearly double the running or something like that we did in the following game against Liverpool, we win the game. There's a strange correlation with something like that. And as Flex points out there, I think you look at Casemiro in that game, you look at Amrabat, even when he's playing at left back, but he's essentially in midfield, and you see that partnership, and you see what it can be, and what the potential is for it there, and you go, okay, that might be something. That might be something later on. Now that we can build that, we can develop that, and again, you don't want to get too carried away, because it's not, it was a poor Palace side and a poor Palace performance. And it would be really, really interesting to see what that is like, or what that does look like away from home in one of those bigger games against the top 6 side, which our record has been abysmal. With that Amrabat, Casemiro, how much is that going to help in that game? Is that going to make us have a bit more steel? And I think it probably will. And Flex pointed out Mason Mount there, and I do want to point him out too, because he only played 45 minutes, maybe his contributions in the first half kind of get lost a little bit. And they shouldn't, because for 45 minutes, he was fantastic. He was absolutely excellent. He was, as Ten Hag pointed out, I think in one of his quotes after the game last night, he said he doesn't get an assist for it, but he's the pass before the pass for the first goal. It's a really good switch of play. And then obviously he gets the assist for the corner, which I thought was really... Crystal Palace from corners last night were way off. Way off when it came to their defending from corners. But Mason Mount was excellent. And again, it just goes back to... when more players are available, when certain players are back, suddenly those players that have been criticised this season start to play a bit better. and the system starts to work, and you maybe see glimpses into what Erik ten Hag wanted or hoped from his midfield this season, and then you start to actually get quite positive, because you then look at, actually, you know what, we've got some options here. You know, what's at this point, if everyone's back, what's our strongest midfield? Because either way, you've got strong names on the bench. You've probably got Eriksen on the bench. You've got Kobbie Mainoo on the bench. Even McTominay, who's been really, really poor this season, but he's an option. You know, and there's a lot to be said about having options and having the ability to add fresh legs, or the ability to add quality, and not be worried that you make a substitution and the quality of your team performance is going to go down significantly. And I think that's what Erik ten Hag has been kind of dealing with thus far this season. So for me, as I mentioned, Casemiro man of the match, and I think fairly so. Amrabat just behind him, but it's no coincidence for me that Casemiro has his best game of this season, and he did play much better against Burnley as well in terms of his recent performances. But it's no coincidence that he has his best performance when Amrabat and Mason Mount are in the same side, because you've got that people surrounding him. Super chat. Actually, got a members chat first. Let me do it in chronological order. Got to be fair. El Cap says he's been a member for 3 months as well. No Rash and Bruno Haram football. Cass and Amrabizi KFC crying meme. Sensational stuff from them. Wow, I tell you what, there's a lot involved in that one, wasn't there? PJ says just shows play the players that suit the squad. Don't pick superstars. Was great to see proper wing play last night. Stick with this team plus Højlund. We'll get to that in a bit, because again, I kind of chatted to people about this on the full-time view last night, and people will say, oh wow, Bruno and Rashford, they can't play at the weekend. And that's when you go, well, you're going to be disappointed if you think that's what's going to happen, because it's not. Marcus Rashford will start. Bruno Fernandes will start. If they both played last night, I don't have really any doubts that they probably would have either scored or assisted, because they would have, because Palace were poor. Like, we can get excited, and justifiably so, because it was a great performance. But I wouldn't get too carried away with it either. And that's sometimes when it's like, well, we don't pick the team, because Rashford and Bruno will play. They will. Now, granted, if we have a result at the weekend when, you know, Rashford and Bruno do play, and you know, the performance is way different and way off, people will go, So it'll be interesting to see what happens at the weekend. But I wouldn't. I think if you go into Saturday assuming, wow, Bruno and Rashford, they're not gonna play, they will play. They will. And the positive thing from last night is, despite the fact that probably, you know, Garnacho and you know, whoever won't play on Saturday, I think the positive now is, previously in the last few games, Erik ten Hag would have turned to the bench and he would have gone, nah, I don't know if I can trust him. He can trust him. I think that it takes time, but I think it was proved to him that they could be trusted, and I think that's positive too. Let's get some match view highlights, actually. Let's see some of the reactions to all 3 goals in UVHQ last night.
Oh, hello? Cross it in. Oh, shit! Yeah! Is it Garnacho?
Dallo with the assist.
Good football. That was good football still. Alright, guys, we done a cutback. Yeah. We done a cutback.
3 for seconds. So let's see what happened. Who made the switch?
It's the switch.
Who made the switch? That's Mason Mount. Okay, cool.
I thought it was Mount that scored.
Yeah, Mount switched it. So
lovely. Beautiful. The low. Finally.
A few people could have gone.
Oh, Garnacho, you bad boy. That's good. First time. Go on. Hey, you wanted to drop him as well? Huh? Yeah, you wanted to drop him. Don't worry. No, but he's been doing this. We know. Mount. Mount. Hey guys, Mount. Mason, money back. Take 4-0. Hey, Henderson. Wicked. Henderson got clean sheet. Henderson, wicked. Look at them, man. Where's that striker though?
I'm talking about.
That's what I want to see. Hey, no, I'm so happy.
In the box.
I'm so happy for him, bro.
I love that.
Tell you, bro.
Feel good feels.
Well, we call 3-0.
Casemiro.
So he's got a goal and an assist.
Look at the team.
Look at that. Hey, that barbecue was good, you know.
Hey,
that team barbecue.
Chicken.
That team barbecue. What? Ball over. Beautiful play.
He's put, is it?
But look at where Amrabat is, just the movement.
There you go.
I love where
Tries
Martial
to
is.
inside pass.
Try to hit Casemiro. Loses it every now and then. Boom. Beautiful.
Left foot.
Peeled off.
Yeah.
That's the best way to
Finishing
go.
like that.
I am very happy for Martial, bro. Henderson, you snake.
I tell you what, like, and you'll see this because KG's reaction is coming up next. KG's consistent calling out of Dean Henderson was a common theme last night. Dean Henderson, of course, played, what was it, like 10 minutes, if that, last night, making his Crystal Palace debut at the club that he just left, and he had to leave the pitch after about 10 minutes. That is, I think, maybe his thigh again, I'm not sure. So, yes, KG wanted to have his moment with Dean Henderson, and he didn't have it last night. But they didn't stop him, because every time we scored, he kept saying Dean Henderson, even though Henderson's not in goal. It was Johnson. Nevertheless, I do want to shout out Hannibal, as I mentioned. Hannibal Mejbri also played last night, second consecutive start for the Manchester United youngster, and it's a really fascinating one with him, isn't it? Because he's been playing the last 2 games anyway in the number 10 role. Now, obviously, the number 10 at Manchester United, that position is kind of locked in for Bruno Fernandes. The reason why he played there against Burnley is we're just so short of options on the right wing because of a variety of reasons, and still, for whatever reason, Ten Hag didn't want to play for Koundé Palestri there against Burnley. Obviously, last night he did, but Bruno was rested. It's going to be really interesting to see if Hannibal plays at the weekend. I'm not sure that he will. Unless he decides to go Bruno right wing again. But to me, that feels like a case of almost shoehorning Bruno into the side a little bit, doesn't it? It kind of feels like a case of getting him in there. But Hannibal, realistically, he's done nothing wrong. He's done nothing to warrant dropping out of the side. In the game against Burnley and obviously last night as well. And his tenacity, I mean, the only thing you would say maybe he needs to sort of curb a little bit is that he walks a very fine line, doesn't he? He walks a real fine line in terms of he'll get a book. It feels like he gets a booking every game. And even last night he was on a booking and he did a couple of fouls. You go, yeah, you're being a bit close there, Hannibal. But you don't want to change him too much because that's the personality type. But it's going to be an interesting one whether he starts at the weekend or not. Actually, I need to break my microphone. I put a poll in the chat. Here we go. Could have actually typed it. Will Hannibal start on Saturday? Poll is in the chat. There you go. It's in the chat. You can vote on that one. My gut says probably not. Probably not. But through no fault of his own, really. He deserves to. But I lean to probably saying no. But what would that mean? Does that mean that maybe, does Bruno in the 10? Does Palestri start on the right? Or is it a case of actually, what kind of depends on? It kind of depends a little bit on Sergio Reguilón, I think a little bit. If Reguilón's fit, he plays left back. And then I think Amrabat plays alongside Casemiro. Then I think Mount moves to right wing. And then I think that has Bruno in the 10, I think. I think that's kind of the domino effect of how it will probably go, I think. So I lean towards saying no, probably not, but we'll see. Certainly, indeed, we'll see. Already, just the poll's only been in there for literally a minute, and already the majority are saying no. So we'll let that one continue to go and see what people say about that. Let's get some more reaction. Let's go to KG. As I mentioned, common theme. Was the Dean Henderson call-outs by KG yesterday. In addition to that, you know what KG's like? He tries to sort of, try and not get too carried away. He tries to not get too reckless, but it's KG after all. Let's see what he said.
Because you know what happened? Oh, no. But no, it's not really about no. I'm just trying to gas. I'm trying to be shameless. I need to talk about what really happened today, and I need to start in one place. Amrabat. Yeah? Amrabizi, Sofyan This is what we needed. You know, Man United fans like all over the place on Twitter, in the terraces, everywhere. I've been talking about we need Amrabat. That's been the thing. Even in the transfer windows, like, yeah, Mount will be cool, but we need to see Amrabat. Like, this is what we've been looking for, because he will give us so much dynamic in terms of he wants to play for the club, the hunger, the passion, everything, the desire, all those things are there, but that alongside ability. And that's what we're seeing today. We saw a player that was starting in left back, and I was calm. I know on the weekend, yeah, he got jinked and they tried to get on the inside. It was like, oh, I don't know if he's going to be okay in the left back position. But Amrabat did not play left back today. Yes, it could have been his starting position, but when that ball was in midfield, he went hunting. He was winning it back. And you're looking, it sends a message, because now you have two battlers, two monsters in midfield in terms of Casemiro and Amrabat. And you could tell the team, in terms of when the team is like with the ball in possession, you know where he's playing. Out of possession, he'll go back, he'll do his job. And he's done his job well today. Again, it was hard to get past. He's not a natural left back, but that wasn't really what it was all about. It's talking about picking up the ball, spraying. And that's what we saw. Like, I thought one thing I liked about Man United today is the mentality. Man United showed great mentality, and it became because you had players in there that Ten Hag has really picked. You're talking about Mason Mount. You're having a player that he's picked from the youth in Hannibal. Hannibal feels blessed because the manager's basically said, you know what? I'm going to give you a chance. I trusted you in the last game, and you're going to play for me. Now, Hannibal, he feels like he owes the manager something. And you saw that in his performance today. Hannibal was all over the place. Mason Mount, you basically, as soon as the Crystal Palace players got the ball, they choked them. They said, look, you're not going to move. We're going to... And it's after that, you start to look at the performance and think, well, did Crystal Palace give us too much respect? No, we earned the respect. We got that respect because of... We're harrying, playing in the Ten Hag way. We've been waiting a long time to see us play this system. And the football was fluid. To another player I need to talk about, Facundo. I spoke to his dad. I know his dad. You know what I mean? And Facundo, what we saw from him today was a real right winger. The guy, chalk on the boots, yeah? Staying out wide, he's just going to continue to be a problem. You don't want your players going out to go over there. It's like you're caught in no man's land. And him and Delo, that relationship that they're forming, and it makes no sense because they haven't played together that much. But you could see, it's like they just really understand each other's movement, understand each other's position, where they're going to be. Even the cutback, you play that ball over the top from Casemiro. And what do you get there? A little 1-2s, and the ball gets cut. A cutback. Our first cutback, Garnacho. And that's it. That was the beginning of things. And you lot know how I feel about Henderson. I wanted him to hold 4. I wanted him to even hold more, bro. But then it weren't my day. But Henderson sensed danger. He sensed that Man United, they wanted to move violent. He said, yo, I'm getting out of here.
I told you there's at least 3 KG Dean Henderson shout-outs this morning. How many likes are we currently on at the moment? We've got over 1,200 people watching, less than 200 likes. Hey, I tell you guys, just statistically, this is a bit of maths for me this morning. I know it's early. I know it's 9:39 on a Wednesday morning, 27th of September. But even if half of you click the like button right now, 500 easy. You know, even more so. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe to bottom right hand corner. You know what to do. I believe we can do it. I don't know the last time we had a Match Day Reloaded that had 500 views live, 500 likes live. I mean, it's very early. 500 likes live. So if you haven't already, click the like button and be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. I can see people saying it in the chat as well. People are shocked. Imran says the like button isn't liking. Yep. Savage says, like the video. We deserve it after that performance. Hellboy says, Hellboy's done it now. Liked. Sometimes people forget. You know, Mike says, I like it, Owen. Yeah. So, sometimes people just forget. Sometimes it takes a bit of a nudge. There are some people who are vehemently against it. They'll say, no, I'm not going. Don't tell me what to do. Don't you dare tell me to click that like button. And I'm not telling you. I'm just saying if you want to, you know, you can if you want. And just, you know, some people forget. Some people are out. You know, I know what I'm doing sometimes. Sometimes I've got my phone in my pocket. I'm listening to YouTube. I'm doing other things. And you go, okay, well, just, you know, I'll click the like button. I forgot. You know, it's one of those ones. Ahmad with a super chat says 70% of the world is covered by water and the rest is covered by Amrabat. I like that. I like that. Very, very good, Ahmad. What else should we chat about in terms of performances last night as well? I just talk about Andre Onana. Now, Onana really didn't have anything to do. He made one good save in the second half with his feet. And I spoke about this last night on the Full-Time View. Andre Onana is a goalkeeper that's set up for games like last night. And by that, I don't mean in terms of, games which he doesn't have to make any saves. No. But Andre Onana is not a goalkeeper you drop into a side that is having 15 plus shots against them in the game. Because his shot stopping is suspect. So chances are one of them is going to go in. Andre Onana is a goalkeeper that you drop into a side that is dominating games, that is dominating possession, that, yeah, there'll be counterattacks and teams will have opportunities and he'll make those saves. But he when you're dominating a game, when you've got a lot of possession, he becomes that extra man. For instance, Andre Onana, if something happened to Ederson or Ederson fell out with Pep Guardiola and Onana wasn't at Manchester United, if you dropped Andre Onana into Man City, he'd be perfect for them because, you know, they don't concede a ton of chances, one or two, but most of the time it's about them having the ball. It's about them dominating the game. It's about them in possession. It's about finding passes. So in a game like last night, and this is really the point you would think that Ten Hag would want to get to as well, is to get to a point where we're dominating games and, you know, his most sort of effective nature is finding brilliant passes, his distribution, his ability to play under pressure, play out from the back. That's really, you know, Andre Onana's best quality. You know, I don't know, he said it himself in the press conference where he said, I'm not here just because I'm good with my feet, but that is, you know, it's one of the big reasons that he was singled out. So I think that last night is a good indication of where, you know, United want to go when it comes to him. And also, too, for a lot of the noise and a lot of the criticism as well, back-to-back clean sheets. You know, it won't shut people up because people have already, again, when it comes to sort of criticism, people have already made their minds up. But back-to-back clean sheets, away from home, Carabao Cup, get another one at the weekend, 3 in a row, and suddenly things start to, you know, calm down a little bit as well. But there you go. Fred says, your hatred towards Onana is beyond. So it's a very strange one, isn't it? You know, when you praise a player and say, shout out Andre Onana for a clean sheet, and the reaction is you hate him. It is crazy, isn't it? Because I have noticed this, and you start to doubt yourself, folks. And don't let it happen to you, because this might happen to you on social media, yeah? Is you'll say something, and you'll say something, and then people say that you said the opposite. And it's very bizarre. They'll say, so you go, well done, Andre Onana, 2 clean sheets in a row. You hate him. And then you start to doubt yourself. You go, did I say I hate Andre Onana? And then maybe you have to go watch it back and you go, no, I didn't. I do realize that I can, you know, I do realize that I can say, I mean what I'm saying as well. Oh, very strange. Very, very strange. But, you know, it is what it is. After that, I feel like we need some good vibes. Let's get some good vibes. Let's go to John Shin, the king of good vibes. Good vibes, John, is what John had to say.
As Manchester United take a convincing, dominating, whatever the word is, a fantastic 3-0 victory. It was probably the most dominating performance from Manchester United that we've seen under Erik ten Hag this season. And lots of opposition fans were in my chat. They were like, oh, John, you're getting too ahead of yourself. You're going too crazy. You're overreacting, whatever. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I should temper my expectations because it was against the B-tiered Crystal Palace side. Lots of changes. We saw Eze, one of our top performers, coming on in the second half. Yeah, you're right. But why can't we be a little bit excited? Oh my, I'm getting rushed by my mic here. Why can't we be excited? Why can't we be happy? It was one of the best performances that we've seen in a very long time. And I couldn't be any more happier for Erik ten Hag. And I couldn't be any more happier for us Manchester United fans because finally, we're seeing what we can do. Glimpses of Erik ten Hag's full setup. And you know why that's the case? It's because we're having injured players return. 2 players in particular, Sofyan Amrabat, who obviously had a couple of minutes in the last game, did a great job, but Mason Mount, oh my goodness, played out the park today. It was on an absolute madness, playing in that number 10 role with Bruno Fernandes being rested. I love to see players rested because when a team is healthy, these are the games where you bring in your youth players. You bring in your Garnacho, your Balistri, your Hannibal Mejbri. You bring in your squad players like your Donny van de Beeks, like your Mason Mount, like your Amrabat. These kinds of players are supposed to be playing in these kinds of games when your team is doing well. Manchester United might not be doing phenomenally, but Erik ten Hag trusted his squad players to get the job done, and they proved to be loyal and they proved to be quality on the day because they were phenomenal. Let's talk a little bit about reviewing individual performances. The back four, obviously Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane at the center back partnership. Rafael Varane, need I say more? Phenomenal. Harry Maguire in particular. What I saw from Harry Maguire today was a performance, it wasn't a magnanimous, fantabulous performance, but it was a performance that sparked his confidence. And that's what I love to see from Harry Maguire. Yes, Manchester United fans and their sort of love for Harry Maguire might have already floated away. But at the end of the day, if he's still here playing for Manchester United with the Manchester United badge on his chest, the last thing you want to do is put pressure on him. You want to back your players regardless of what's going on. And I want to see Harry Maguire do well. And today he did a great job. He put in a proper, neat shift, a fantastic performance from him in terms of building confidence. That's what you want from Harry Maguire, and I was happy to see him play. Diogo Dalot, my man needs rest, man. He's been playing a lot, but put in another good shift as well. Left back was Sofyan Amrabat. I actually said it in my live stream. I was like, guys, Sofyan Amrabat, I think he's gonna play at left back, and surely he did. It wasn't a genius guess because Sergio Reguilon obviously was sick, according to Erik ten Hag, but he managed to get in and play for us last week. Great shift in providing that loyalty and that, that heart and the desire from Sergio Reguilon. But these are the games where you want to rest him. And I think Erik ten Hag made the right choice. And my goodness, did he make the right choice, because Sofyan Amrabat put in an absolute wonderful shift at left back. And he has this role where he's not really covering the natural flank areas of the left back. At least defensively, he covers that area in that left-hand space, that left back space. But going forward, you see him playing that role that we saw Diogo Dalot do when he was playing in that inverted left back role. Rather than being the overlapping runner constantly for Alejandro Garnacho on that left wing, he's been just tucking in centrally, just covering that center, that midfield area alongside Casemiro.
Big up, John. Good vibes, John. Yes, you know what I love with John Shin's fan views is the background. There are staples of it, but there are things that evolve. There are things that change. Sometimes the shirts change. Sometimes things get tweaked and stuff like that. There's always little Easter eggs from Good Vibes, John. And most importantly, always good vibes. So be sure to check him out, subscribe to his channel, and all of his socials. His TikTok and Real Game is one of the best in the game. So be sure to check that out as well. How many likes are we currently on at the moment? We've still got over 1,200 people watching. We're now up to 337. I tell you what, 500's on. 500 is very much on. We can do it. You can do it. So if you haven't already, click that like button as well. M. Sati with the super chat says, I just worry about him not catching the ball and making saves with his body and deflecting to danger areas. Attackers like Haaland and Salah feast on these. Well, again, I think that the only thing he can do, and it's actually quite a good segue, actually, because I did want to talk about Harry Maguire since John brought him up, is the only thing he can do, Andre Onana, is keep clean sheets, make saves. That's how you keep people quiet, isn't it? 2 games whereby he's kept these clean sheets, and people aren't talking about how much of a disaster Andre Onana is. And that's all you can do. Same with Harry Maguire last night. I think it's important to state that my opinion of Harry Maguire's tenure at Manchester United really hasn't changed that much. He still should have gone in the summer. He still, for me, is still what. Particularly as players come back, he's still, even with Johnny Evans playing the way that Johnny Evans is playing at the moment, he's possibly, 5th or 6th choice at this point. So his future and standing at United really hasn't changed. But last night, did well. He did well. And that's all you can do. That is, I go back to the point that KG made the other day, particularly, and he was talking about Johnny Evans. But, Johnny Evans, lots of people were looking at him the same, going, 35-year-old Johnny Evans, what are we doing? And it's still a Glazonomic situation. But how do you silence doubters? How do you get people talking about you? Put in performances. You put in performances, you play well, you win football matches. And that's it. And last night he did very well. I didn't do anything wrong. So there's nothing to criticize. And, and when he plays well, deserves praise. And when he doesn't play well, deserves the criticism. And that's, and the whole sort of narrative around Maguire that, he's unfairly criticized. Some people take it too far, fine. But a lot of it does stem from, poor performances or, not being justified in terms of team selection. And You know, for all of the pointing in the ears, blocking out the noise, the real way to block out the noise, do it on the pitch, win football matches. Very, very simple. So he did well last night, as did Varane. Played not the whole game. He's working his way back. But now suddenly we've got centre-back options again, thank God. Lisandro Martinez, I think it was said that he wanted to play last night, but he didn't, so he might be back at the weekend. So as I said earlier on, it's amazing how quickly things can change in football, because suddenly, from going from how, you know, what are our centre-back options looking like, suddenly we've got Varane back, Martinez on the way back, Lindelof, Evans, Maguire. Then suddenly you've got like 5 centre-backs, you know, on the way back, and then you go, finally, you know, and that's the key thing. That's the key thing, is getting players back, building up momentum, and that's exactly what we need. Let's get some more reaction, this time outside Old Trafford with Flex. He spoke to Bradley. Here's what he had to say.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Stress-free, mate.
Best performance of the season.
Yeah.
Amrabat was superb.
What did you like about him? What did you like about his performance there?
He looked like the Moroccan Roberto Carlos today.
Bloody hell. Actually, he did. He did, actually, yeah. Moroccan Roberto Carlos. Yes, exactly. He was at it today, innit?
He was world class today. But we talked about it before, about his quality. See what he did in the World Cup against Mbappe. It was unbelievable today. He's so calm on the ball.
And the way he switches the play, and he always wants it. He's always kind of saying, give me it again, and just keeps the passes moving quite crisp. Look, it helped that Palace, you know, let us have the ball and it was easy, but perfect game for him. But you still got to play what's in front of you.
Yeah. We were crying out from midfield like him. He's like Ericsson, but he has legs.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people had a lot of praise for Casemiro today. A goal, assist, unbelievable for you.
Yeah, mint. We talked about it. He's an unbelievable midfielder, one of the best of all time, and he'll go down as a Man United legend, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man United legend. He's going to have to win some big trophies to get that.
I think he will do, though.
Yeah?
I think that's who he is. In Varane, cool as a cucumber. We got Amrabat to come in. If we can have that block of Martinez and Varane and Amrabat and Casemiro in front, we'll be a force. Obviously, I think the Premier League's done because we're 9 points behind.
Yeah.
But I still think we can win this. I think we can challenge for the Champions League and challenge for the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's definitely the aim. And are you looking at it like that with the addition of Amrabat? It just gives that security. Do you think he could be the perfect signing to not just unlock Casemiro, but help Casemiro?
Yeah, because Rio Ferdinand put it on his Insta that 58 appearances, 20 goal contributions for Casemiro.
It's mad, isn't it? Like when we got him, and did you realise like he'd score this much, or get assists, or everyone you kind of just think destroyer, get the ball back, horrible, win it back, but he's done more attacking sort of work for us than he has defensive.
It's a disrespect now to call him a 6. Yeah. For me, he's a number 8. Like Amrabat can sit, pick up the ball for the defenders, and Casemiro can help get forward and help the attackers.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Amrabat's shot as well, so you're right, he probably shouldn't be up there shooting. He's probably not going to score much, but no, in terms of the balance of the team, Mason Mount as well, good for him.
Yeah, he was brilliant
Gets
today.
an assist from the corner as well, and just some nice touches and nice passes.
Good some passes, yeah, and he was good. Best performance up to now in a Man United shirt. Needed it.
He did, and the whole team did, didn't they?
Best performance of the season.
Yeah, substitute.
Big up Bradley, big up Flex, chatting outside Old Trafford there. Again, Mason Mount, best performance. Well, it's only for his third, so it's a small sample size, certainly, isn't there? Some wild takes from Bradley there as well. Challenging for the Champions League. That's when we can't get too carried away. I mean, it is Carabao Cup third round. We don't do ourselves any favours when it comes to stuff like that. I do want to shout out Facundo Pellistri as well, because we've been talking so much about wanting him to play on the right hand side and wanting him to start games, and of course he did last night after he started the game against Bayern. I mean, it was a tough one. It's a tough one to be dropped into, isn't it? It's a very difficult one. But last night started, and I thought he did really, really well, particularly. The link-up for the first goal was really good between him and Diogo Dalot. The little 1-2 to get Dalot to put the ball into the box. A cutback, as KG would said, miracles can indeed will happen at Old Trafford. A cutback goal for Manchester United that we score, not against us as well. Oh, what a miracle. So as to whether he'll start at the weekend, I mean, I can probably end this poll in the chat actually here now. So the poll was, will Hannibal start on Saturday? Over 500 votes. Still less than 500 likes. Curious. And 64% of you say no, he will not start. Only 36% of you say yes. So the feeling is Hannibal won't start. And I suppose the next question would be, is Facundo Pellistri going to start at the weekend? And I would probably lean into saying no as well. just part of me feels like, as I mentioned earlier on, I do think it's a bit of a domino effect as to if we have a left back available. But I lean into maybe it being Mason Mount on the right and having Bruno in the 10. I just think that's where it's going to go. But if it doesn't go right for Ten Hag on Saturday, people will point out to them, say, hey, you took some of the youngsters out and you put some of the experienced or senior players in, and maybe they didn't deliver. So those senior players that are coming back in, they have to deliver because the younger players have given them something to think about. And that's exactly what it should be. That's exactly how it should be. So I lean to saying Facundo probably won't start on Saturday. Same with Hannibal. But maybe Ten Hag will throw a curveball. Maybe he'll say, I'm happy with those players that played. The majority of them are going to play again. It'll be interesting to see that team selection. And not only will it be interesting to see the team selection for Saturday, it'll be also interesting to see the inevitable meltdown as well. But regardless of what happens, if he plays youngsters again, what's going on here? If he brings the senior players back in, what's Erik ten Hag doing? There's favourites. I mean, he just cannot win, can he? Finally, let's get some more reaction. KG spoke to DJ after the game inside UVHQ.
Hey, listen, man, I think today was a day where the team needs to come together. We've had some bad press, we've had some bad results, shaky results, but today we really need to get a win. And look, today, completely kind of revamped team. We've got like 12 or 13 injuries in this squad.
Mad injuries.
Yeah, mad injuries. But today, I loved what I saw. I saw control.
Talk to me about what you saw today.
I saw control.
Yeah.
I saw composure. I saw tactics. I saw a game plan. And what I saw was young players out there fighting for the badge.
Oh, man, it's so good to see some young players. And that's what Man United has been all about. You got a few today. Dan Gore played. Yeah. Hannibal played. Facundo plays.
Yeah, man. And you know what? It's good to see them getting their chances because the players like Hannibal, they've been on the fringes of the first team, for a few years now when we weren't sure, are they going to make the grade at Manchester United? But I think they've persevered. They haven't come out and said anything about our manager. They've respected the chain of command as you're supposed to do. And, given their chance now, Hannibal especially, he's taken that chance there. And you could tell Ten Hag loves him. You could tell Ten Hag really
it was a great little moment when he comes off the pitch and he's tapping the back of his head, thinking, you're lucky today, boy.
He said you did a madness before you could get sent off. Do you know what I mean?
But then just getting into this team, though, man, and what to do. I won't say what to do next. Let's actually focus on his performance. Amrabat, talk to me. What did you think about his first, real home debut?
Hey, listen, man, I've been one of the people to really champion him coming to Manchester United. We saw what he was made of in the World Cup. He stood, he really stood to be counted, in the World Cup, and he showed his qualities as a player. He's robust, he's strong, he's very progressive with the ball, very good passer with the ball. He comes in today at left back. I was saying in the show, I wanted to see him in the midfield. I wish he's got granted a bit later on in the game, but even at left back, you can see him creeping into midfield. Creeping into midfield.
Right, the gully creeper, fam.
Gully creeper, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. He literally crept into midfield, and got alongside Casemiro at times. And some of the passing, the diagonal passing across at Sky Sports just after the game, they were showing, various passes that he was making. It's like he's been playing all this time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't even think he's 100% fit just yet, getting that match fitness. Yeah, I don't think he's even 100% fit, but it's going to be amazing to see him, get that connection with Casemiro. I don't believe they'll always play together, but I think big games, you're going to need them to.
And that's what we're looking for again. You're asking for still in the midfield, and you can tell our manager's really focused on midfield with the two players he's brought in, Mason Mount as well. Talk to me about Mason.
All right, listen, man, Mason Mount, man, he had I want to say a super tough start. I mean, we know the quality there. There were question marks over why is Ten Hag going to got Mason Mount from Chelsea, but the reality is we saw a little bit of that today, live wire, on the ball. He can pick the passes. He's in between the lines. He receives the ball on the half turn, works tirelessly, energy in abundance. He can assist. Good ball delivery with the corner today. He gets an assist from that as well.
Wicked.
He played.
Bro, he scored from a corner.
Yeah. Oh my God, when's the last time we done that?
Bro, it's mad. Well, we had the Evans-ish one the other day, but they choked it off, right?
Choked it off, yeah. We haven't scored from a corner in time. Yeah. And, it's really good to get Mount to get that assist. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, big up to me.
Big up KG, big up DJ. We blew the hat budget in that one fan view. It's the lot wardrobe changes it. In that one as well. I love KG as well. The best one, check it out from the weekend of when KG is watching the TV when he's doing the fan views, and yeah, because he's yeah. Huh? Yeah. But there you go, guys. That's Matchday Reloaded for you this morning. What a show. It flies by, doesn't it? Certainly. How many likes have we ended on? I feel like we didn't get to the 500. We're at 408. We are less than 100 to go as we exit. There is still more than enough of you. Less than 100 to go and to get to 500. So if you haven't already, click that like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. You can do it. What's on tap for the remainder of the week? Well, of course, you can go back and watch all of the fan views, all of the match view, full-time view as well from last night if you didn't already. So be sure to check all of those out. Of course, we'll be building up now to the game at the weekend. There'll be another Man United Crystal Palace preview. There'll be a press conference reaction. There'll be morning views. Morning view will be back tomorrow morning, as always, 9 a.m. as well. So plenty to get your teeth into here at United View. So if you haven't already subscribed, click the notification bell. You'll be notified every time we go live or a new video gets uploaded. Anyway, guys, have a great Wednesday, and I'll speak to you again very soon. I'm out of here. Peace.